Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at SoberCoffeePod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Good morning, G.
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Good to be back again.
You know, it's so funny. I had somebody reach out to me early this morning. They're like, "Hey, man, where's the? I want to feed the coffee kitty. Where's the donate button?"
Oh yeah, we don't do that
I'm
anymore.
like, man, we stopped that 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Because GoFundMe, we had a GoFundMe. Right. And we've got some great support from some people. Love it, but I mean, GoFundMe, like every month they want us to verify all our bank statements. Like they made it so hard.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? It's just not worth it.
No.
It's just not worth it. But
yeah, we don't have sponsors. If we did, it'd probably be like Budweiser or something, I think.
Oh, I have the funniest story. I'll tell you. No, you know, I'm helping a guy raise some money for recovery, and so we're talking about it. And the guy says, "Oh, I have a great, Budweiser loves to sponsor this stuff." I'm like, "Did you think about what you just said?"
I know, right?
like come on.
Bud Light, Ultra Light, Bud
0.0.
Yeah, right.
I don't
exactly.
know, man.
I don't go there.
It's just crazy stuff.
Hey, we got a table for three today. I'm super stoked.
I know.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. We got Russell and hey, Russell, how you
Hey,
doing,
Russell.
man?
Hey, guys.
Great to have you.
So I asked Russell to come join us at the coffee shop. Look. First of all, they read, for those that don't go to AA, they read how it works from pages 58, 59 of the big book, and part of what it says is if you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. I'm going to say out loud right now, I wanted what Russell had, and it doesn't matter if he came into the program before me or after me. It doesn't matter. I look to other people in the program and I go, I want that peace. I want that calm. In Russell's case, I want that fun.
I thought you were talking about his pickleball stroke.
His pickleball stroke, right? But I aspire to live sobriety life like you, and I know that for you, I'm guessing it doesn't come natural. It's taken some work, but anyway, welcome to the coffee shop, man. Just super stoked to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, a little backstory from Russell. What kind of got you into the rooms? Yeah, I know that. Do we have 8 hours?
Yeah.
Right. How many years were you out there ripping and running? Roughly.
Okay, well, I got my first alcohol poisoning on Christmas Eve in 8th grade. I drank
holy cow.
half a fifth of Absolute vodka.
Dude, that is impressive and scary all at the same time. I was drunk at my 8th grade graduation, but my grandfather...
I was drinking all the time then, but I mean,
yeah,
I was
you had alcohol.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was my
my
first blackout.
Wow,
Oh,
good
my
morning. Good morning.
I did my first rehab in sophomore in high school.
Wow.
I did alcohol and pot at first, and then, I
Right.
started liking opiates.
Sure.
And, you give me benzos.
Oh,
and
put anything in my hand, I swallow it. Right.
I'm a garbage dumpster, man.
Right, exactly, right. Wow.
It went downhill fast, and I didn't stop. I didn't have a day sober from the time I got to rehab in sophomore until I was 36.
36, okay.
Holy cow.
And generally a concoction of things every day.
Right.
That's just how I went.
Chemistry experiment.
Yeah, gone wrong. Gone very wrong.
Did you have a group of friends that kept up with you?
I had
or tried to.
Yeah, I had a. I don't talk to any of them anymore.
Right, sure.
I did. I had a couple that were, one went as hard as me. The others didn't quite go as hard, but he was a functioning alcoholic. He's still a functioning alcoholic.
Right.
It works for him. Whatever.
Right. Right.
If he's ready someday, he's ready. But I was not a functioning alcoholic or addict. I mean, I was not. I never was.
So you would drink, get super high, and then just kind of pull out of society?
Yes. And, for me, a long time, drugs were more a part of my story than alcohol was until I decided. When I was 30, I said, I'm going to quit all drugs, and I'm just going to drink, and it'll be okay. It was not okay, I can assure you. It was actually a lot fucking worse.
Okay, gotcha. Eric Clapton said that. Eric Clapton said that alcohol was harder to overcome than his other drugs, illicit drugs he did. He quit those pretty easily. But it was the alcohol that really
To be
caught
fair,
him.
also, like when I quit all the other drugs, I still had alcohol. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
sure.
when I quit alcohol, I didn't have anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, I did fentanyl, like medical grade fentanyl, for 5 years. This was back in. I quit when I was 30, so I did from like 25 to 30. And my grandmother, used to have, she had bad osteoporosis and shoulder surgeries and shit. And this was back, they used to just hand that shit out.
Sure,
She had
right.
Stacks of boxes
Totally.
Yeah, right.
of, medical
Packs
fentanyl.
of-
She was her own pharmacy.
Yeah, so I just,
You were like, bring it on, Grandma.
Yeah, well, I took.
Yeah.
She never ran out,
Right.
but not that I cared, realistically.
Right.
I was not a good person then. But yeah, so I quit all that, and it was rough. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Right.
detoxing from that was not fun, but I still drank, so,
So a couple things. You started counting your rehabs, just like I counted my ex-wives. How many rehabs have you been in?
6. Well, I don't count when I was a kid. If you
Okay.
do, I got 7.
All right. And then how long do you have sober today?
3 years and change.
All right. Awesome.
3 years, 1
awesome.
month, and I don't know, 15 days or something. I don't look that much anymore,
Awesome.
January 5th, 2022.
Nice.
So it sounded like you used
23.
a bunch of drugs and booze as coping mechanisms, and you said, hey, I quit the drugs, but I still had booze. What did you do the first 6 months? You didn't have anything.
Yeah, what was your coping mechanism the first 6 months?
Okay. Well, when I first, all right, so I tried going to rehab, Jesus Christ, when was that? 2018, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
In Michigan. I had never, I went as a kid, but I was just there. It was my parents made me go. I could care less. And I wanted, I actually asked for help at that time. I was out of control, with my drinking and severe depression. I've got complex PTSD. And I'm a cutter. I get blackout drunk and I just wake up covered in blood and whatever. So I went and I tried to get help, and I wanted to be sober. And I never heard of sober living or anything like that, And so one kid who I was with in detox and then rehab I became friends with, he was like, I'm going to California for sober living. I was like,
Well, that sounds good.
yeah, I'll go to California too.
Sure, they got palm trees and
Yeah.
hot tubs?
Geographic solutions.
Uh-huh. So I went to LA, the San Fernando Valley, for sober living, and I made some good friends out there. I still talk to a few, like 3 people regularly who I met out there, and I haven't seen them in 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of them are still sober. But I couldn't stay sober at first. They talk about that fearless and thorough.
Mhm,
I was
right.
not fearless and thorough.
Okay.
I was
Yep.
terrified and not thorough. I did a 4-step out there, but I didn't put everything on it. And you know how that goes. So I'd stay sober for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And towards the end, it was bad. I was living in my car and I was sleeping under. When I would sometimes, I would get drunk and I just not even sleep in my car. I would sleep under Van Nuys and Ventura Boulevard. And this guy I knew out there, Tom Hardy, Joe Hardy. He knew a lot about my story. I have child sexual abuse. Yeah. So, that, whatever. I blamed that for everything, and it was a factor. But everything was really my fault. Realistically, everything I did was I made the decision. And so he knew a lot of my story, and he had toured Utah because they were he worked for the Sober Living. They were going to open another sober living out there, and actually a rehab. So he had toured this place called Deer Hollow, and Deer Hollow does nothing but they don't care about your drugs or your alcohol. It's all for PTSD and trauma. He actually took me in off the street. He 5150 me because I was out of control. And when I got out of the cell, he was waiting for me, and he took me to his house and kept me in his house for like 7 days until he got me on a plane out there to go to Deer Hollow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Impressive.
miracle.
Wow.
Well, I mean, all of it, the whole reason I'm alive is a freaking miracle. I don't know how many times I've woken up in a hospital, and
Yeah.
But so I did that, and that was the beginning of God put those things in place for me for what I needed. And you talk about like I said, I wasn't very fearless and thorough on my 4-step. I was fearless and thorough in there, and my life began to change. I got out of there, and I I stayed sober for 2 years, 1 day and 1 month and 4 days. That's not my my sober date then. And out there, what I did was I worked my ass off. That's how I did it that first time. I worked 60 hours a week.
Right.
And I came home and I ate and I went to a meeting and I showered and I went to bed.
Very disciplined.
Yeah, it was. I was very disciplined. And I hadn't worked in, I don't know, 5 years before that, like an actual job. So, but everything was great. Everything was so good that I didn't think it could possibly get bad again. I dealt with all the trauma shit. And I had no urge to drink. I chaired a meeting on Fridays. I had a sponsor. I sponsored people. I did a lot of shit. And then I stopped doing all the shit that I was supposed to do.
Right. I was going to say, what fell off the rails?
Me.
You.
Me. I fell off the rails. Everything was so good. I didn't think, I don't got to go as many meetings. Life has never been this
I don't got to
great.
take I don't got to take the antidepressants. I'm not depressed.
I don't take those.
No,
I did
but
for a while.
that was my story.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
I did, and I hadn't taken those for over a year when I was out there. I was like, I really don't think I need this. Maybe I did still. I don't know.
Right.
But it was down to me. I stopped going to as many meetings. Eventually, I stopped. I gave up that Friday chair that I did. I stopped talking to my sponsor as much. I stopped doing. I isolated and did Russell's thing instead of doing what God wanted me to do. And and one day I was just, then I worked for a lawn and tree company, so we're off during winter.
Right.
I was getting cigarettes at a gas station. The guy next to me was buying beer.
Boom.
So I was like, I can do it.
You can do a couple beers.
I can do a 12-pack.
Sure.
Not a big deal.
Sure.
I drank a 12-pack and I went and bought a bottle.
Yeah.
And the next morning I was drinking.
Yeah,
and I
right.
went out for another year and a couple months. Actually, 1 year, 1 month to the day.
Wow.
And it was awful.
Yeah.
It was worse than
Never
it was
gets
before.
better.
It was true. It was awful.
I know.
It was like
All the stuff they say is true.
that first beer tasted good, and I slammed it. So it was like 5 seconds of good,
All right.
and then
Yes.
a
Right
year
to
and a
hell.
month of shit.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Nothing had changed. But
Yep.
my friends, all of my friends out there were sober, obviously, and we did a lot of shit. We went and played golf. We went to, we did all kinds of things together. I did sober softball when I was out there, and people are calling me, and I'm not answering my phone. People are coming to my house and knocking on my door, and I'm not. I'm
Right. You're gone. You've gone
I'm
dark.
closing
You've
the
ghosted them.
shades.
Right.
I'm
Sure.
not home. My car's out front, but I'm not home. It was not good.
Wow. So what brought you? What happened to bring you back?
Same thing.
Into the fold?
I was finally ready to surrender again. I was. I took my will back and I did what Russell wanted, and I was just, you can only wake up and, puke up the blood and bile from the night before and then try to go again for so long. After, let's talk about that head full of AA and a belly full of alcohol doesn't mix, and it really didn't. It was way worse.
AA screws up your drinking, doesn't it?
It really does, man. I had no fun. Maybe that first beer was good, but after that, every day was awful, and I couldn't get myself to stop, and I wasn't willing to do what I did the first time to stop again.
Last time I relapsed, I just wanted that, and I knew I was going to relapse. My sponsor says, "Why didn't you call me?" I'm like, "Because you would say don't drink," and I wanted to drink, and I remember to this day, and I watch your face. I remember taking that first big drink, and it burned going down, and I threw it up like within minutes. Like my body said, "No way."
Right.
There was no joy in that whatsoever, and I finally, I'm finally like, I'm done, But so how are things today? 3+ years.
Yeah. Good. I'm back here in Chicago. I grew up here. I grew up in Orland Park. My family's out here. I got a little niece and nephew. I've never been married. I got no kids.
Nice.
But
Did you spoil the little niece and?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. That's great.
They're a lot of fun.
How old?
7 and 4.
Oh, it's beautiful
Niece
ages.
is 7 and little Nolan's 4. I'm godfather to Nolan, which is crazy because back then my family wanted nothing for.
I know, it's amazing how that changes, huh?
My family's also, my mom's in recovery. My mom's 23 years sober,
Wow.
I want to say.
Wow.
My brother's 14 years sober.
Wow.
Half my family, my grandfather, half my family's in recovery.
That's great.
I'm like the last one.
Right.
To finally get
Do you think you got prayed into the program?
Oh, I'm sure that was a big factor. My mom talks
That's
about
interesting.
she does, and she's a Lamont Oakser.
Yeah, okay.
And she's got quite a few friends. She says they pray for you every day.
Yeah.
So they still pray for you every day.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, sober now. So you were doing a bunch of things. You stopped doing them. You went back out. What are you doing today to make sure you keep doing the things that are keeping you in sobriety?
Number one is I wake up and talk to God every morning, because that was the biggest thing that I think stopped. I mean, for me, my higher power is everything. Without that, I know that I don't stand a chance. I stay connected with all my friends. We go out and we do stuff. We just played pickleball yesterday. I'm off of
The
work.
pickleball squad.
Yeah, I'm off work next Saturday, so we're going to do Top Box with Dan. I stay connected with the fellas. Right? I think the fellowship is huge for me.
I can attest to that. We
Danny
go to the
G?
same. Yes,
I
we go to
love
the
Danny
same.
G.
We go to the same club, and you are, I would say, connected. Is a very good descriptive of you. I see you on the streets, at restaurants, and and sure enough, I'll see Russell walking along the street. Hey, Russ, how you doing? As long as he's not with anybody, I'll say, Russell, how you doing? And then there's this posse right behind him or right in front of him. There people are all. You're just out in the community, bonding with
Living life
with other AAs.
That's the thing, is actually living life. I didn't ever live. I existed. I went through the motions every day, and my whole goal was to get as wasted as I possibly could, so I couldn't feel anything.
Right.
And now I get to wake up every day, and I enjoy. Not every day's great, but I enjoy feeling it. Because there are great days.
Amazing. What do you do on your bad days?
Same thing I do on my good days.
Oh, good answer.
The thing that works.
That's an awesome answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
good days, they're temporary, man. The bad days, they're also temporary.
So when you're hit with the bad in a bad day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, something happens. What is your instinct? What's your go-to coping to say, I'm going to get through this sober? Or is it not even a struggle? Is it?
I don't want to say this. It's really, I couldn't tell you last time I actually thought that, taking it, this is so shitty, I want to take a drink.
Right.
I couldn't tell you last time I thought
That's
that.
awesome.
But my first go-to is always talk to God.
Yeah,
Help
okay.
me.
Talk to God.
Give me,
Right.
give me your strength right now. Tell me what I need, show me what I need to do.
Right.
So that I'm not so, I don't like being angry. I like being calm.
Right,
You know? And generally I am. But, sometimes shit goes wrong.
Yeah, right.
Or
It
I'm
does.
sad or whatever it is. And
Right.
I ask for his help.
Yeah, that's
know.
great. That's awesome.
That's my first thing, always.
Yeah. What do you tell the guy that's listening right now that's kind of sober curious and going, well, that sounds great, but because you were pretty, and I was older when I came into the program, right? But you're pretty young, so
late 30s I came in.
I know that even I came in at 59, and I thought, oh man, my life is over. I mean, there's still so many good times I could have with alcohol, which was the biggest lie in the world, because like you two both talked about, it's that first introduction to alcohol into your system at any one given sitting. That first drink makes you feel good. Made me feel good, and then I would chase that, trying to make it better, and it would get worse, right? So my theory is, it's not about taking a drink, because I think I could handle a drink. I really do in my brain.
God.
It's the sip. Once the sip passes my lips, the game's over.
Yeah.
Right? So
I have no off switch at all.
I have no
for
off
anything,
switch. Right.
Sounds like the three of us have a pretty definitive understanding that you take the one,
I'm done.
the next
Right.
2,000 are coming.
I'm done.
That's right.
And
Exactly.
I don't know
Have
when I'm
enough
going to
proof.
stop.
Yeah, I just
Usually
have-
I've got to get locked up. I don't
Right.
know when I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank God I haven't got locked up, but I go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, something. I've got to be
Yeah.
shoved into detox. I got to be arrested. I
Yep.
got to be shoved in a drunk tank. I have to be something to maybe give me a little bit of time to get something out of me, so I can think somewhat clearly.
To stop you from yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all me.
No, that's how I looked at it. I mean, it was just crazy, and it just kept on going and going and going, and finally I asked for help. And that's when it all started.
So
Yeah.
what you're really involved. So involvement, connectivity is big for you. Involvement is big for you. Faith is big for you. Service. I see you again.
I do,
stepping up to do
yeah.
service.
I haven't done as much this last year. I started going to taking classes for Cisco certified.
Oh, that's
CCNA.
awesome.
Great, man.
Oh wow.
And so I had to give up
Yes.
my Friday chair because
Okay.
I conflicted with that because then I got an internship for networking.
Excellent.
Over the summer. I had like a 5-month internship.
Okay.
And once that was done, I'm actually driving for Amazon right now, where I continue to work on my CCNA.
Wow.
So my
You got a lot
schedule
on
was
your
like,
platter,
yeah,
right,
well, so my
right.
schedule was just really weird. So like this Saturday, I'm actually off coming up, so I get to do Top Box, but I don't get to do as much as
Right.
I used to when I had like a set schedule.
Right,
You
right.
know, I do what I can, but I just my schedule is all over the place right now.
How important is meeting attendance, even with your busy life? I mean, in your program, how important is meeting attendance?
It's important. Oh, it's
Yeah.
definitely important. You know, I don't go. I do like 2 or 3 a week right now.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay. Yeah, you were heavier because you and I went to a bunch of.
Oh, I did. I
same
used to do
meetings,
every
yeah.
day. Like I said,
Right,
this
right.
whole schedule thing. But as long as I stay connected to my people and to God every day,
Yeah.
I seem to be fine. You know, I mean, like, well, am I going to go like, I don't need to go to meetings anymore? God, no, because I saw what happened.
Right, sure,
You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. But if it's not 7 a day, you're
No, it's
in
not.
a good place.
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
Right now, it's good.
Yeah,
That's the same spot I'm in. I mean, during COVID, I would do 10 meetings a week,
easily.
and now I do one. Mm-hmm. But I do a lot of other sober-focused stuff
Right.
outside of meetings.
Right.
You know, but that's something that I always talk to my sponsor about is, you know, how many meetings,
Right.
you know, and it's, I mean, it's working now, but, you know, I don't want, I've done enough, right? Where
Right.
I pull away and then I go back out. And, you know, so I keep doing the 26 things, you know, a day, a week, a month. To make
meetings
sure.
meetings are part of that
Yeah,
26
absolutely. It's
things.
one of the 26.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
So, what do you tell somebody who is listening that's kind of sober curious right now, thinking, you know what, maybe I want what Russell has. I want kind of the tone of his voice in my life. What is when you run into a new guy in a room, what advice would you give him if you had one-on-one time about joining us on this road to recovery?
Oh, jeez. I always try to sell the hope.
Yeah, right.
You know, when I came in, I was hopeless, and you know, I thought I was just going to drink and drug until I died.
I did too. Yeah.
And some people, you know, I didn't take to it obviously at first, but I saw enough from other people who were clearly as crazy as I was that they were sober and enjoying life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think.
So you had hope, but based on what you were witnessing from other people, you didn't have hope in yourself that
No.
you could do it.
No, I
but
didn't. I still
you
didn't think
picked
I
up
could.
hope from other people that they
Correct.
were doing it. So maybe, just maybe, there would be a correlation, and you
Maybe
could
I
do
get
it.
a little bit of that,
Right,
you know?
right.
And I just kept coming back until it worked for me.
Yeah.
you know?
No, that's awesome. That's the same with me. You know, those promises, right? You read the promises. I'm like, well, they sound good, but if you keep going back, especially if you keep going back to the same meetings and pay attention, I started to see the promises work in you guys before I saw them work in me.
Yeah, you don't see shit in yourself.
No, and I literally told myself, I'm like, man, you know what? If you just keep coming back and do what they do, it will eventually happen. Mm-hmm. And it did.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's fine.
amazing.
You know,
See, for me, I love the 5th step promise. It was I could look the world in the eye again, and I will start to have a relationship with my Creator or my God of understanding.
Right.
You know,
I
I
could
couldn't
look
look
at-
anybody in the eye, let alone the world.
Right.
I wanted that. I just wanted to pick my head up and walk down the street and not have to
Right.
be ashamed of anyone ever seeing me. You know,
the thing I like today
Freedom.
is
Yep.
and AA taught me a different way to live, right? Taught me to live with integrity, you know, full transparency, honesty. Sometimes I'm too transparent, but it gives me the opportunity. I love that because I do that in business and with my family. Very intentional. I look people in the eye and just very intentional, you know, about our relationship and about where things are at. And if I shit my pants, I will look somebody in the eye and say, hey, man,
happened.
I just shit my pants, you know. And first of all, the world's not used to that, right? So it gets you a lot of distance because people are like, wow, you know, but it's a different way to live. And so real quick, I know we're wrapping up here, but real quick, there are people out there in social media, like we put all this out in social media and you hear all kinds of crap, right? People out there who say AA doesn't work. I love your face.
AA doesn't work if you don't work it. That's how it works.
God, I wish I had a picture of your face or a video of your face. It was awesome.
It didn't work for me when I didn't work it, and it worked for me when I worked it.
It's amazing how that works, right?
Plain and simple.
Yep. I totally love it, and people don't surrender, right? And they try to do it their way and impose their will and their way onto, a program of surrender. It doesn't work, and then they bash it. Mm-hmm. And
victory and surrender. It's an odd concept, but it works. I don't understand half the shit we do, to be honest. I mean, some of it doesn't make sense that it works, but it works.
Superpower.
So I don't care.
That's a superpower. Yeah, you just do it.
I stopped caring about that. I don't know why it works. I don't know how it works. All I know is that when I do it, I stay sober, and I wake up generally pretty happy.
You may not know how a microwave works, but it heats the food.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't make a difference to me anymore. I don't need answers to that. I just know that
that's awesome.
That life is enjoyable, and I just want to keep having that in my life. I don't care about, okay, good days, bad days, whatever. Bad days really aren't that bad. I know bad days, and they're not this.
Right.
In perspective, they're not this.
No,
and the funny thing about it is before, good things would be happening around my life, but it would be a bad day because it was all internal.
Yeah.
Now, bad things happen around my life, and inside, it's a good day because I know the pain of where I was. I know that darkness.
Yeah.
And trust me, I ain't living that darkness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, and then we'll close. What do you want people to know about Russell?
Oh, jeez. Again, I just want people to know that my big thing, my sponsors used to tell me, how free do you want to be? Mm-hmm. We were just talking about this the other day with somebody, What I want you to know is that no matter what you've done, we have all done something just as bad. When you get to that 4th step, when they talk about fearless and thorough, that is your freedom. Mm-hmm. That's why I love that 5th step promise. You get all that off your chest to somebody else, and they don't judge you, and you will be able to feel good again about yourself, and that sets up everything else for the rest of the steps. Mm-hmm. I want you to know that I'm not going to get into all the shit I've done, but I've done a lot of foul shit, and forgiveness is what comes from this program, I think, for myself and from others by starting to act right. And I just want people to know that anything is possible if you put the effort in with this program. I don't care what you've done. I don't care where you've been. I went from the streets to where I am now. I've done, I just want people to know that anything's possible.
That's awesome, Russell. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for jumping in, man. I love seeing the rooms. It's great to get to know you better.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Have a great one.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.